Welcome to another Cardano update. Like always, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our daily Discord updates for only like $5 a month. Also, check out the third wave of the third wave merchandise, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So right now Cardano is going down, and well, it's not looking too good, at least on the short term, because we actually got a below the trend line right here. And well, getting below it is not a sign that we will just go down all of a sudden. However, it's not a good sign, and breaking below it and not getting back above it could be a sign that maybe the 1-2 setup here will actually get invalidated, and maybe the fourth wave, which is down here, will turn into a much bigger ABC structure, and Cardano will test this support zone right here, which is the 0.786 support level, and that is at 68.5 cents. Now, in case we go that low and in case we test the support zone, if we do not bounce right there, then the whole structure is gonna have to be changed, because well, this will no longer work as a 1-2 1-2 3-4 5 setup, and it will be something entirely different. I've heard some theories that maybe this is a 1-2 3-4 5 setup. I don't know, I don't really like that theory because, well, first of all, the first wave right here did not get to its targets. If you count it as a third wave move, it did not get to the 1-6-1-8 of this 1-2 setup, so I'm not really counting this as a 1-2 3-4 5 setup because it's not really correct in my opinion. So I still think this is the correct pattern on the chart. However, like I said, if we break this support zone right here, it could be bad. Now maybe this is just a fake out, and keep in mind, breaking below the trend line and getting back above it is still gonna be bullish, but only if we get back above it. And I told you this a couple of days ago, but it doesn't really matter what happens in the short term. We are just waiting for the cross on the bull market support band, and well, I mean, if you look at the weekly chart right now, I mean, the bull market support band is getting very close, and well, I think in the next couple of maybe days or maybe 1 week or so, we're gonna have to cross, and then after we have the cross, it's gonna be fine. And of course, people do not want to believe that right now because people are bearish because the market is going down. Also, they keep asking me why Cardano is not at all-time highs, because it's almost the end of May, and I know I said that Cardano will most likely be at all-time highs by the end of May, and please do not forget, I said that it will most likely be at all-time highs, not by the end of May. I changed that like a couple of months ago. I said that it will most likely be at all-time highs by the second week of June, and if it's not, I told you that we will most likely not get the summer drop on the Bitcoin chart like we did in the previous couple of cycles, and that we will most likely continue going up slowly but surely, and then at some point during the summer we have a move like this, and then we still have the summer drop. I don't know when the summer drop is gonna happen. All I know is that it will most likely still happen, but only after we get this move right here. I mean, if you look at what happened in the previous couple of cycles when we had a summer drop, for example in 2021, before the summer drop we actually had a big move to the upside right here, and well, I mean, Bitcoin went up for pretty much like a year and a half, I believe. No, actually no, this was only like 7 months, but yeah, it went up for like 7 months before actually getting a much bigger drop. In this cycle, I mean, we only went down right here and we just started going up again. So I don't think we're gonna get the summer drop right now. I think we get it in like July or maybe even August or maybe even the beginning of September, and then after we get the summer drop, but actually before we get the summer drop, Bitcoin still gets to this target zone right here between $126,000 and $157,000. Please do not forget, the third wave could easily overextend, so please be aware of that. It's a third wave, so yeah. And well, if you look at the 2017 cycle, I mean, it's the exact same story here. I was talking about this just the other day, but in 2017, this is why I think that Bitcoin has a chance to get a summer drop in the second week of June, because of what happened over here. Here, I don't have it on the chart right now, but we dropped about 44% or so, and well, as you can see, during that we had a cross at the bull market support band right here in March or April, and then we went up, and then after going up for a bit, we actually tested the bull market support band. This was a pretty deep correction, and then we continued going up after that. So I mean, this only took like a couple of days, but it impacted the market, not in a negative way, because well, we still went up after that, but some people got scared over here. And right now I think there's a possibility that we do the exact same thing again, and there is a chance that Bitcoin just gets to its all-time highs. Well, not all-time highs, but the third wave target right here, let's say it gets to about $136,000, maybe even $140,000 by the end of the second week of June, and then we do this and people get scared, they think we're in a bear market, and we do that, by the way, after we get a cross, just like we did in 2017, and then we quickly get back to 100k, and then we get to all-time highs again at the end of the year, and maybe the correction right here will only take like a couple of days, maybe 1 week, like it did in 2017, so we'll see what happens with that. Now, going back to the Cardano chart, you have to understand that we're still doing pretty good, and even though, you know, people are bearish because we're not doing anything, you have to remember we are respecting the support levels, and we have been respecting the support levels the entire cycle, and we never really got below the 0.618, the main 0.618 support levels. For example, here we reacted exactly at the 618, and then in the second wave, well, in the second one to set up, we also reacted to the 618, and we reacted to the 618 multiple times, actually 2 times. And by the way, I called this double bottom, so there's that. And right now we're still waiting for the third wave of the third wave, and as you know from what I said in probably all of my videos so far, but if a chart reacts to the support levels, it means that it will most likely bounce at some point, because, well, that's how charts work. And right now we're just waiting for the bounce. Yes, it could be boring, and yes, I mean, the altcoin season this cycle will happen way later than it did in the previous couple of cycles, but that's not really a bad thing. And please do not forget, in the 2017 cycle, Ethereum actually topped in 2018, and then we went down into the bear market. So I mean, could this cycle be exactly what we did over here? Obviously, and you have to be aware of that. So the altcoin season could theoretically, start in the next couple of weeks, and it could last all the way until January. And even if it doesn't start right now, it does not mean that it will not start at some point, and people do not seem to understand this. Bitcoin dominance cannot go up forever. That's not how a chart works. It has to drop at some point. So even if it does not drop right now, even if it doesn't drop next month or in like 2 months, it's not gonna matter, because all I think is that, Bitcoin dominance will most likely drop to these lows right here by January of 2026. Now, when we start the drop, it's pretty irrelevant in my opinion. And if you are waiting for this to drop and it's just not dropping, well, maybe just stop waiting and just stop focusing on the charts for a minute. And, I mean, right now things are pretty boring, and I don't know why you are even watching these videos. And if you are, then thank you. But, if you are watching them and then you are complaining about the fact that we are not doing anything, well, it's normal. I mean, you have to remember back here in the previous cycle, I mean, everybody was pretty much, gone from the crypto market when Bitcoin dominance was at these highs. I don't think anybody bought crypto over here. People only bought crypto when we did this right here, and when Bitcoin dominance dropped. So right now, nobody's buying crypto. Nobody really cares about Bitcoin being at, $100,000 again. Nobody cares about the fact that Bitcoin just broke its all-time highs. But that's exactly what happened over here in the previous cycle. Here, I mean, during the altcoin season, Bitcoin was doing this, and before Bitcoin was doing this, it was actually doing this as well. It went from like $4,000 down here all the way up to like $55,000, and during this time nobody was buying anything. They only started buying when this happened over here, and this only happened because, well, we had the altcoin season. Now please keep in mind that the Bitcoin chart could, keep going up even if the altcoin season starts, because it's Bitcoin we are talking about. And if you look at the 2017 cycle, yes, we did have an altcoin season in 2017 as well, and during that time Bitcoin still went up. Bitcoin dominance only dropped because, the altcoins were outperforming Bitcoin, and we could get the exact same thing in this cycle. But like I said, right here in 2021, people only started talking about crypto in this region after Bitcoin already broke its previous all-time highs by quite a lot. And yeah, they did not care about this because during this time the altcoins were just dead. They were not doing anything. I mean, if you look at what ADA was doing during this time, it was not doing anything. It was just, yes, it was on an uptrend over here, but it was just extremely boring, and we were still down quite a lot from the previous all-time highs. I believe we were down like 90%, and of course people were starting to give up on the crypto market, just like they are right now, and then they probably sold, they lost some money, and they thought that, hey, maybe we're going lower, and maybe I am gonna have another buying opportunity very, very soon. And before they knew what was happening in the market did something like this. And of course, the people who bought, maybe actually no, not there, but in this region right here, they probably, sold after. Well, actually, no, let's say they bought right here and then they sold here. They thought it will go lower and they will find another buying opportunity, only for the market to do this. And then guess what they did? They probably bought around here. They thought that Cardano will get to like $50, and then they held the coin. They were up like 2x, and they did not sell because their favorite YouTuber was saying that it will most likely go higher. And what do you think happened? It went into a bear market and it lost like 90% of its value during the bear market because, well, that's what altcoins do. And right now we're in a similar situation. I think this right here will be, when we look at the past in a couple of years, I think people will see this low right here or these lows right here as a good buying opportunity. And well, I don't know if we will actually get back to these levels after the bear market. It all depends on where Cardano actually tops. But if you actually trust this chart, and I actually trust this chart because it's the exact same pattern every single time, then you just need some patience and you just need to wait for the market to wake up. I know I've been saying that for quite a long time, and I know it's getting boring, but I do not decide when the market goes up. If it does not want to go up exactly when I want it to go up, I cannot do anything about that. So please be aware of that. And if my predictions are off, and if I say that Cardano will get to like $5 by the end of the second week of June, that's only my prediction, and that's only based on what happened in the previous couple of cycles. However, if it does not do that, it does not mean that I'm gonna start turning bearish on Cardano, because even if we do not get to $5 by the end of the second week of June, it's not gonna matter because Bitcoin dominance is still at cycle highs. So it's not like Bitcoin dominance went down and Cardano did not get to all-time highs. Obviously not. Bitcoin dominance is still holding pretty well, which means that once it starts dropping, Cardano will get to all-time highs. When is that gonna happen? I have no idea. All I know is that we will most likely top by January of next year, at least in the altcoin market. I think Bitcoin will most likely top by November or December of this year. So that's my prediction. That has always been my prediction, by the way. And things are looking good, but if we go lower right now, like I said, I'm expecting another low at least like 68 cents. If we invalidate the 1-2 setup here, the invalidation is at about 71 cents. So if we drop below that, we'll most likely drop to 68.15 cents. And that's all you need to know. I hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts, and if you want access to our daily Discord updates for only like $5 a month. Check out the third wave of the third wave merchandise, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.